Tuesdays just as bad. Wednesdays night.
Take it away.
Tell us your name and what your instrument is, what you do.
My name is Paula Samonte, and I'm a vocalist on this wonderful musical project, This Time Tomorrow.
What drew you to music?
My mother and my father were both had beautiful voices, and they taught me the joy and the love of music that has been with me forever. That's how music came into my life.
Where were you born? Where'd you grow up?
I was born in San Francisco, California, where the Golden Gate resides. A beautiful city by the bay, Northern California.
So tell us a little bit about your musical journey. When did you first start to be, you said you're a vocalist, so when did you first start vocalizing or singing?
I had my first paid gig when I was 3 years old. My mother and father worked in the Central Valley of California picking tomatoes. And I was about 3.5 years young. And they would sing to me and teach me songs. And in the evening, we would all gather together in this big room with picnic tables and having dinner. And in the evening, they would do talent shows. And my father put me up on the table and said, "Paula, sing the song that we taught you." And, "Oh, sure, Daddy." So I got up there and I sang. And then when I was done, they all threw a bunch of coins out there. 50-cent pieces, round dollars, pennies, dimes, quarters. And I heard all this clinking, clanking going on. And my dad said, "Paula, that's all for you." So that was my first paid gig.
This was in San Francisco?
No, this was in the Central Valley, where they worked in the fields picking tomatoes.
Do you happen to remember what that song was?
I don't.
Do you remember what song you first sang? Or as a child, what songs you would sing?
They were very positive songs always, like "Blue skies smiling at me, nothing but blue skies do I see." Those were the kind of songs that my parents would teach me when I was a little girl.
Can you give a little sample? Just say, and when you give us a little sample, can you say, you know, one of the songs are a song, kind of like a song that I remember singing was "Blue Skies." I'll sing you a little piece and then do that for us. Would you do us that favor?
I would love to. Blue skies smiling at me, nothing but blue skies do I see. Bluebirds singing a song, nothing but bluebirds all day long. That's part of the song.
When you were growing up, who'd you look up to? Who'd you like to listen to? Whether they themselves were vocal singers, or maybe even groups. Who inspired you musically?
My strongest inspiration growing up that inspired me was Sarah Vaughan. Her rich quality of tone, her deep voice, up to the highest notes. She was my inspiration. I also listened to instrumental jazz groups, and like Count Basie, they'd play a song like Cherokee, and the first time through they'd play the melody and you recognized it, and all of a sudden there were all these musicians who had solos. And I taught myself to sing the melody through the solos to make sure that I knew where to come in, that I could sing the song along with the soloist. And then, so instrumental music groups were really instrumental in teaching me how to listen to the music of the group whether it be vocally or without vocals. So Count Basie, Duke Ellington, Frank Sinatra. I always thought he was singing to me when I was a young girl.
How did you hear this music? Did you have a radio? Did you buy records? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, it was mostly albums, LPs they called them. And they'd have like a 15-minute on one side and 15-minute on the other side. And I would sing along but it was basically phonograph records that I listened to as I grew up and tried to sound just like them, the singers that I would listen to, including Ella Fitzgerald, of course. And that style of music. That was my interest. And also, just to give you another side of my musical history, is that Broadway music was absolutely so much fun. My Fair Lady, West Side Story, Oklahoma, those kind of musicals and watching them sing and dance on stage. That was just inspiring as a young woman growing up with dreams. And here I am being a part of a wonderful dream come true, joyfully for me, through my dear friend Jessie Allen Cooper, a wonderful, wonderful musician with a big heart who has included me on this incredible journey. And I'm so grateful that he has believed in me through all of these years as well.
Just wanna wish you a happy birthday before I go. This man makes everybody shout.
We're going to get to that in a little bit. Want to kind of go through the process here. So now you talked a little bit about when you were a youngster. So once you were reaching an adult age, did you go to the nightclubs? Did you go out dancing? Did you have your own record player? What was your introduction into the foray of music as a young adult?
Well, when I was in high school, at our prom, we had a big band. And we had the junior prom and the senior prom. When at my junior prom, there we had a big band, and my mother always taught me, take a chance, dare to be different. And I walked up to the band leader, and I said, can I sing with the band? And he said, and he said, well, can you sing? And my girlfriend that was standing there with me said, yeah, she can sing. And then he looked at me and said, well, if you sang with us, what would it be? And I said, how about Birth of the Blues? And he said, you know that song? And I said, yeah. So he said, okay. And so I sang Birth of the Blues. And then the next year at the senior prom, the same orchestra played there. And he asked me, do you want to sing? And I sang Birth of the Blues again. So that was taking a chance on myself. And that's what my mom taught me, to take a chance, Don't be afraid to ask. Don't wait to be discovered. Discover yourself. And that's what I did. When in the 60s, I became a cocktail waitress at a club in San Francisco called the Hotsy Totsy Club. I went there, and it was like a 20s style, a lot of girls, or women, 21 of course. I was 19, but they didn't seem to care. Anyway, I really liked all the outfits they were wearing, and I said, I want to work here. And the guy that ran the place, Big Al was his name, he kind of heard me, and he said, well, why don't you come on Thursday? So I became a hotsy-totsy cocktail waitress. And what was really great is I said, well, I sing. And eventually they let me sing a couple of songs once in a while with the three-piece piano, bass, and drums, the basic jazz trio. And so I took chances, just like my mom had taught me to do, to don't wait, make it happen. So that's a little bit of that self-motivated, go for it.
Was that your first paid gig? Would you call that your first paid gig?
Well, my first paid one was when I was at 3 o'clock.
Oh, well, of course.
Yeah.
But
Yes, that was my first paid gig as a vocalist or as working in the scene in the 60s in San Francisco. And it was right next door to the Hungry Eye, where Lenny Bruce was there during that time. And he would come over to the Hotsy Totsy Club and have a couple of drinks before he went on next door at the Hungry Eye. And so that was, and I didn't really know him that well, but everybody talked about it.
Were you a cabaret singer as a result after that? Did you do those kinds of gigs?
I did.
Well, when you answer, you want to say, I did. Yeah.
I did cabaret singing. I went to New York. I sang in clubs there in the 60s, the upstairs at the downstairs, and places like that. So I did do some cabaret work as I was finding out about the industry and, just doing what I love to do.
And that was a very fascinating and powerful time for music. You must have worked with a lot of different people and famous people. Can you talk a little bit about some of the personalities? So what was the next the next stage of your musical career after these early cabaret in the 60s experiences?
My early experiences after my introduction to being a cabaret singer, well, in New York, when I went there in the 60s by myself, I was fortunate enough to be introduced to Sarah Vaughan's husband, manager, C.B. Atkins. And that was absolutely thrilling to be a part of Sarah Vaughan's, my inspiration to work for her. And we would go to her house in New Jersey, to their house in New Jersey, and she would be in the kitchen and she'd call me in and she said, "Paula, I know you're a singer. Come in the kitchen and sing with me." And we just kind of sing together. And the lesson she taught me was, love your voice. You have a beautiful voice. Love your voice. And I took that. And eventually I ended back in San Francisco, and she was still in New York, and I went back home to San Francisco, where she would come and visit and invite us to join her at the Fairmont when she was performing. And she introduced me to myself. And what I did with that is I share that as a teacher to young people who want to aspire to do what I do, to love their voice, find their own voice. Don't be J17 on the jukebox. Be yourself. And that was the one very powerful lesson that I so appreciate that she gave to me. Later on in my life, I have 2 children, so I dedicated much of my life to...
Go back.
There's a
car
car.
going back. Just go back to later on in my life.
Later on in my life.
Later on in my life, when I had 2 beautiful children, I stopped doing the cabaret singing. So I started getting involved in musical theater. So that's how I continued to keep my chops happening, to keep music happening in my life. And I took my kids with me to be in the chorus if there should be children needed or families or something like that. When we did the Mikado and I was Yum Yum, and there was this parade to the Mikado, there was a song where my children would march down the aisle singing a song. So I made them a part, brought them to be a part of that world with me. And they have gone on to do their own musical and creative endeavors. And then as they grew up, I went out into the world and started putting groups together and auditioning for this group or that group. And then I created my own group, and I met incredible people that I shared the stage with. John Raitt, I sang with him. I sang with the Paul McCandless. I sang Jessie Allen Cooper. I sang with, shared the stage with incredible, caring Holly Near. Just an array of people that just kept inspiring me and kept encouraging me to never give up, to keep on going. And that's what I inspire and try to do for others. We're as young as our hearts will let us be, as our spirits will let us be. And I hope to be that for anyone looking and hearing me. Never give up your passion. Never. Keep doing it. It's meant to be.
I want to go back a little bit to the musical theater that you've done over the years. Can you name some of the shows that you've sung, that you've performed, and just give us a little list of them, and if you would too, some of the highlights.
I'm a little petite person, but I was Bloody Mary in South Pacific. I was the MC in Cabaret. I was Grisabella, the glamour cat, in Cats. I was Reno Sweeney in Anything Goes. I was Aldonza in A Man of La Mancha. All delicious. I was Jaja in Dracula, an unknown piece of musical theater that should be known. A very funny show. Maybe you'll see it sometime.
Did you do Gypsy Rose Lee?
Oh, thank you for asking. She was wonderful. Yes, I was Mama Rose in Gypsy. And she was wonderful. I so identified with her.
So with this next question, I think that if you look back at all these roles you just mentioned, this might be able to help you with your answer. It's a big question, and it's, what's the role of a singer?
The role of a singer is to tell the story, to paint the picture with their words and the quality of the sound. We draw pictures with the sound that we make, without a brush, but with vibration. We tell the story. We do other people's songs, like Stevie Wonder's songs. I used to do many of his. To me, other people's songs are gifts to musicians or vocalists, to tell our story with their songs. They are gifts to us, and they are not restricted to sound like him. I'm not Stevie Wonder. I am me. But his songs, or other people, Cole Porter, Gershwin, they give us the songs to sing our story. We tell our story, each of us different, like the snowflakes. That's the power of a vocalist and the freedom given to the vocalist to tell our story. And even write our own stories, which is always a lot of fun to share. So that's what we do, vocalists.
Tell us about this project, This Time Tomorrow, how you came into this project.
Well, this project started with Jessie Allen Cooper's recording of Let's Connect CD, of which he invited me to do some vocalizing on. And in 2008. And we were getting ready to go to the studio for me to lay down some tracks, and a friend of mine, Ed Reinhardt, a fabulous boogie-woogie blues player, was in town, and I had often told Jessie, hey, you got to hear this guy play, and or at least meet him and talk to him. You guys need to know each other. So he said, well, you guys, I'll pick you guys up and we'll go to the studio and we can get to know each other and then you can lay down your tracks, you know, and da-dee-da-da-dee-da-da. And we started talking on the way over to the studio. We got to the studio and feeling good and everything. And Steve Reed, the engineer, was there where we did the recording. And instead of laying down my tracks, we all just decided, hey, Steve says, I'll set up a keyboard and set up a mic for Paula and a mic for Jessie, and I'll stay in the control booth room and I'll play percussion, and let's just have a jam session. So that's what we did. And we just said, well, what do you want to do? What do you want to sing? What do you want to play? And we just started, Ed Reinhardt, the keyboard player, wow, what a guy. You'll hear it when you listen to This Time Tomorrow. Anyway, he started playing, Jessie started playing, and I started adding my little things in there, and Steve wonderfully decided, hey, I think I'm just going to push the record button and tune it in, and we'll each have a copy of this eventually. And lo and behold, we didn't know he was recording. When we just said, well, what do you want to do next? And what do you want to do next? And there were all kinds of different songs. And I'm a Broadway kind of singer. I'm not really a blues singer, but being with these guys, I just kind of felt a different kind of energy kind of vibrating through me, and did it. And lo and behold, we got our 4 CDs, and we all listened to them and had a great time listening. It was a wonderful memory. We had a great time. We had so much fun. It was a first take because there were no takes. We were just having fun, making music in the moment. It was magic. It was absolutely impeccably wonderful fun. And that's the thing about this. The more I listen to the quality that it's evolved into, that Jessie has taken and added and inspired all his special friends to be a part of this, it's incredible. And the more I listen to it, it's a feel-good CD. Everybody's going to love it. The more I hear it, the more I feel the joy in it, the purity of it. And that is just, it was an incredible journey, from riding in the car, listening to Jessie and Ed banter and laugh, and I just loved watching them get to know each other, and then to have it happen. We just played music. We made music, and Jessie made this happen. And having wonderful friends be a part of it, it's just an incredible experience, and I'm so pleased and happy, and wow, in my life this is really happening. And I am so grateful. I'm so grateful that I never gave up. And I'm so grateful that Jessie never gave up on me. And that's what this time tomorrow is. We all will get together.
Come on, baby, let the good times roll. Come on, baby, let me feel your soul. Come on, baby, let the good times roll. Roll all night long. Come on, baby, let me hold you tight.
How did you first meet Jessie?
Oh, that's a fun one. Well, I was the Western promotional director of Narada Records, of which Jessie was on that label. And we sit around listening to the new music that we're supposed to promote to radio and to Billboard. And there's a soft wave, a saxophone. And people around the table are going, well, what are we going to do with this one? Oh, I don't know, go over there. And I don't know, it's a little different than our regular music. And I looked and I said, give it to me. And they did. And we had Jessie and I met over the phone, and I'm pushing his CD for on air, and I'm debut him on Billboard chart, and I take him up and up and up. And one time when I was in my little office in Ukiah, California, I'm there talking to some radio guy, I don't remember who at this time, and I'm talking about Jesse Allen Cooper and Softwave and how's it doing on the radio, and thank you for playing it, and yeah, he's a great guy, and yes, a little different for Narada, but hey, I love it. And I had peeks out through the door, and lo and behold, who is it? But Jesse Allen Cooper. So I say, hey, guess who came into my office right now? It's Jesse Allen Cooper. We have never met. This first time I've ever met this guy in person. So I put them together on the phone, and that's my first meeting of Jesse Allen Cooper.
Tell us the story about when you first performed with Jessie. How did that whole thing come about?
Well, let's see. Singing with Jessie the first time. Well, he knew I was a vocalist. He knew I loved to sing. We talked music and everything. In Ukiah, California, where we recently had fires that took out some friends' homes, properties. For years it's been like that. So I said, hey, Jessie, and this is years ago, like way before 2008. I said, Jessie, I want to do a benefit for the fire department here. So I'd like to have you come and play. And I will open for you. And that's how I introduced my vocal self to Jessie. So I put together my little group and opened for Jessie. And then Jessie played, and we raised incredible funds for the Redwood Valley Fire Department. And at that time, Jessie got to really truly hear my voice and the intent and purpose of my voice. And like me taking his Softwave CD, and when they said, what are we going to do with it? I said, give it to me. I felt at that moment when Jessie heard me, he said, yeah, she can sing. She's one of the real deals. And that's how he's made me feel. So that's the first time I sang for him. And since then, I've booked us at a local winery called Main Cellars, which is a wonderful, wonderful boutique winery.
Funny Valentine, sweet coming Valentine, you make me smile with my heart.
And at the Ukiah Brewing Company, we played there together. And I just wanted to bring Jessie into my world and for us to collaborate musically together. And then he asked me to be a part of the Let's Connect. And then we did this little jam session. And little by little, step by step, we created a relationship that is so musically strong and so respectful, which is very important to a female vocalist or a female in the industry, to be treated as an equal, to be respected and regarded as someone worthy. I so appreciate that. So Jessie and I go back a long way as we nurtured each other through some hard times, through the music, through the love of each other's lives and the respect of each other. So I could go on and on, but that's another story.
Obviously through Jessie, you've met different musicians, and he's met different musicians. So specifically to this record, what was it like playing with Jerry Cooper, his brother, meeting him and playing with him?
Oh, Jerry on drums. He made me dance. He gave me the texture of the drums. He didn't just play the drums, he also added the texture. And he was very respectful of my voice and the delicacy of the voice. A voice can only go so loud. You know, he helped me sing the songs. And all the people that Jessie brought forth onto this he was the center, he was behind me. He gave me the pulse, the beat, the feel, the groove, everything. And then with a Doug on bass, giving me the heartbeat, keeping the pulse of my heart going. And Jessie, of course, so incredible on harp, you know, just firing me up or leading me in his own way and guiding the whole group, unifying us all the musicians. Jamie on vocals during our performance here at the studio as we played. Again, another magical moment because it was different and changed. But going back to Jerry, I just would turn and look at him, and he and I would just lock eyes, and we knew we were at the right place at the right time, doing the right thing and the right groove and everything. He just kept me going. I couldn't keep still. I had to kind of force myself every so often to not be waving my arms all around because, man, when I feel the beat, I want to move my feet.
What's it like? What's the difference between performing the music live versus when you're in the studio and you're laying down tracks for a record, let's say?
Live, you get what we give. In the studio, oh well, let's take 20. Let's punch in that and just hit that one note. It's put together. like a puzzle piece in the studio. All the pieces fit. When it's live, all the pieces fit. When you have musicians like these, all making their pieces fit in the moment. It's all one take. This is it, and this is it. And we delivered the goods, and the CD delivers the goods, because it was a jam session that has become an incredible, happy, upbeat, good feeling piece of music. So live was it was a live moment that captured a joy of us all doing what we love to do, and that's make and create music together. It doesn't matter if it's 2 or if it's 5,000. I get an opportunity to do what I love to do. Not egotistically, but to give to them who are listening the best that I can give to them. To give them my truth. To give them the hard work that it takes. You know, I teach and I tell my students, you know, everybody warms up, even symphonies, you see them warming up their instruments, the timpani, tuning his big drums, the violins making sure they're all in tune. And then the vocalist comes out and he or she just steps up and starts singing, whether it be in a rock band or a jazz band or a symphony. They don't know what goes on behind the scenes. I work at it. I warm up. I want to be, not just step out there and open my mouth and think it's going to come out. I think about the audience. I want to give them the best I can. So when I'm singing the songs that I am singing, I want to give it to them, and hopefully it touches them. And they feel in their being a kindred spirit singing to them and giving to them, not just what I can get from them. I want them to have what I want to give to them. That for me is live performance, and I love it. I love, and sometimes the lights are so bright I can't see them. But I know they're there, and I know I can feel them. I can feel them, and that's for me is live. I want to be alive and vibrant and respectful to my craft and my dedication to this incredible musical instrument, because we have no keys to find. We have to hear it and find it inside of this body, this being. Where is this note? And there it comes. And I am blessed to have that gift. So my gift to my audience that listens is that I continue to give the gift. And that is what live is to me, that my gift is continually being received. And they go home hopefully saying, when somebody says, well, what did you do this weekend? Oh, I had a great time. I went to this party and I heard this great group, and they were great, and the singer was fabulous, and oh man, it was we send them home with good feeling and a good story to tell and to share. And hopefully those people who listen will support live music. That's what all that live for me means. Hopefully they will spread the word to support live music and musicians. What does blues mean to me? Well, like I said, I'm mostly a jazz and a Broadway. That was my... And of course I love the Latin bossa nova, you know, Sergio Mendes and that beautiful rhythm. Anyway, listening to, I really got to know blues, boogie woogie blues, when I listened to Ed Reinhardt. And he and I would do gigs together, and I'd back him up, or we'd do gigs together. And I got to kind of be introduced to the blues through Ed Reinhardt, who was on the CD. He's the keyboard guy. And then when we got into the, so that's really where I kind of understood it more. I would listen to B.B. King, you know, and that genre, but it wasn't that, it didn't fit like a glove does. But music, if it feels good, and that's what this was, I just let it happen. I just, all of a sudden, I don't know. I mean, people, you know, it's another voice. Like you can have a voice like that, or you can have a voice like that. And when we were in the studio jamming, I found that glove that fit, because Jessie with his playing, and Ed with his playing, and Steve with his percussion influence, it just drew me to their center, and they made me feel comfortable in their hands, and I just kind of found this other energy within myself. So it kind of was another new heartbeat for me. So it's really fresh and new for me. And it's a lot of fun. How jazz and blues are different. Wow. Well, words might not work, but maybe a little sample. Like in jazz, I can become a horn player. You know, there's a lot of that. You know, you become a horn player. In blues, oh baby, why do you treat me this way? Or something like more, you know, like we have the Janus, who's like the mother goddess of it all for me. But the difference is, it's the same but different. It's the delivery. I don't know how else to explain it. Get the album. Listen.
What's the album called?
This Time Tomorrow. See you there.